In the early 20th century, science was undergoing a revolution. Pioneers like Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, and Ernest Rutherford were uncovering secrets about the atom, the tiny building block of matter. When physicist Otto Hahn and his assistant Fritz Strassmann discovered nuclear fission in 1938, they realized that splitting an atom of uranium released an immense amount of energy. What was once a theoretical curiosity suddenly became the blueprint for an unimaginably powerful weapon. Nuclear fission could unleash forces far greater than any chemical explosion known to man. Scientists understood that if this energy could be controlled or unleashed deliberately, it could change the course of history forever. Fear of Nazi Germany, the race to build the bomb. In 1939, as Adolf Hitler's armies swept through Europe, fear gripped the scientific community. Among the world's most brilliant physicists, many of whom were Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi persecution, there was a terrifying realization. If Germany mastered nuclear fission first, Hitler could develop a superweapon capable of destroying entire cities. That same year, a group of scientists including Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard wrote a famous letter to US President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Known as the Einstein-Szilard letter, it warned that Germany might be developing an atomic bomb and urged the US government to start its own research into nuclear weapons. This letter marked the beginning of one of the most secretive and ambitious projects in human history, the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project, Science Goes to War. Launched officially in 1942, the Manhattan Project brought together some of the greatest minds of the 20th century physicists, chemists, engineers, and military strategists united under a single goal: to build an atomic bomb before Germany or Japan could. Under the direction of General Leslie Groves and the scientific leadership of J. Robert Oppenheimer, laboratories and research facilities were established across the United States, from Los Alamos in New Mexico to Oak Ridge in Tennessee and Hanford in Washington. Secrecy was absolute. Over 130,000 people worked on the project, many of them unaware of what they were actually creating. Billions of dollars were poured into developing two types of bombs, one using uranium-235, the other plutonium-239. The scientific breakthroughs were staggering proof of what human intellect could achieve when driven by urgency and fear. But behind the success was a haunting question: should humanity wield such power? The first detonation, the Trinity test. On July 16, 1945, in the desert sands of Alamogordo, New Mexico, the world witnessed its first nuclear explosion, the Trinity test. At precisely 5:29 a.m., a blinding flash lit up the morning sky, followed by a mushroom cloud that rose miles high. The desert floor turned to glass from the heat, and a shockwave swept through the barren land. Oppenheimer, watching from a distance, recalled a verse from the Hindu scripture Bhagavad Gita: "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The test confirmed what many feared: mankind had unlocked the most destructive power known to science. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the world changes forever. Just weeks later, the weapon born in secrecy was unleashed upon the world. On August 6, 1945, the US bomber Enola Gay dropped a uranium bomb, codenamed Little Boy, over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. Within seconds, a fireball engulfed the city, flattening everything within a 2-mile radius. Tens of thousands of people were vaporized instantly. Fires raged uncontrollably, and radiation began silently poisoning survivors. 3 days later, on August 9th, another bomb, Fat Man, using plutonium, was dropped on Nagasaki. The devastation was equally catastrophic. By the end of that year, over 200,000 people, men, women, and children, were dead. Many of those who survived suffered burns, radiation sickness, and lifelong scars. Japan surrendered days later, effectively ending World War II. But victory came at an unbearable cost. The atomic age: power, fear, and paradox. The invention of the atomic bomb marked the beginning of the nuclear age, an era defined by both progress and peril. The weapon that ended one war ignited another: the Cold War, a tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union that would last for decades. Both superpowers began stockpiling nuclear weapons, each capable of destroying life on Earth many times over. Terms like mutually assured destruction, MAD, became part of global politics. Humanity now lived under the shadow of its own invention, where one mistake, one misunderstanding, could end civilization. Yet, out of this darkness also came advancements. Nuclear power promised a new source of energy. Scientific discoveries from the Manhattan Project led to innovations in medicine, physics, and technology. The same science that could annihilate cities could also save lives. This paradox, the dual nature of knowledge, became the moral burden of the atomic age. Oppenheimer's regret and the moral reckoning. In the years after the war, J. Robert Oppenheimer became a symbol of the scientist's dilemma. Once hailed as a hero, he later expressed deep remorse for his role in creating the bomb. He famously told President Truman, "Mr. President, I feel I have blood on my hands." Oppenheimer's transformation from visionary physicist to reluctant prophet reflected a broader truth. The atomic bomb was not just a weapon, it was a mirror reflecting humanity's capacity for both brilliance and destruction. Legacy, a caution to the future. Today, the atomic bomb remains a reminder of what humanity is capable of, both the triumph of intellect and the tragedy of moral blindness. More than 13,000 nuclear weapons still exist around the world. Treaties, diplomacy, and global movements seek to reduce this number, but the threat never truly disappears. The invention of the atomic bomb ended a world war but began an age of fear, an age where peace itself depends on restraint, understanding, and the wisdom to never again let science outrun humanity's conscience. Conclusion. The atomic bomb was humanity's most powerful discovery and its most devastating mistake. Born from fear, forged by genius, and unleashed in desperation, it forever changed how we view war, peace, and ourselves. It ended an old world and began a new one where the fate of civilization rests not in the hands of kings or empires, but in the choices we make about the power we hold. The bomb ended a war, but began a new era of fear. The invention of the atomic bomb. End of story. See you next time on Histoons TV.